We're joined by head coach Dave Dunn of Catholic University Football. They were picked number 8 in this year's preseason poll. Coach, we see the preseason poll. It's similar to what we saw last year at the end of the regular season with the logjam that we had and then other teams that were there. And talk a little bit about what we saw on the field last year, because you had those teams at the top that were getting the pub, but the teams at the bottom were also winning ball games and caused some of that issue with the logjam that we had at the top.
I think in our league, I think the great thing about it is legitimately, I mean, sometimes people just say that this is like coach talk, but legitimately in our league, anybody can beat anybody on any given day, and it proves itself every year, and at least every year that I've been in the ODAC.
Well, and then let's take a look at your club right now. As you're looking to move back up the top, and you got a lot of experience to be able to help you do that. Not just what quote unquote the skill position players, but you got some on the line, on both sides of the line, into the deeper ends of your defense. So you've got people everywhere to look for experience. What do you expect that experience to do for you this year coming into the season?
Yeah, I just think we got to take the next step. Last year, when you looked at it on paper, we were probably the youngest team in the league. After our 2013 season, we graduated. Had a very big senior class, 27, and 4 of those guys were fifth-year seniors. So we were a very, very experienced team in 2013, which obviously led us to be a very young team in 2014. Now we have a lot coming back, much more. We returned 10 starters on offense. We should have good competition at a lot of the positions, just because we played so many guys that were young and have a lot of experience. We have a little bit less coming back on defense, but enough experience that I think it'll help us this year. And just our youth really hurt us in a lot of cases last year.
We'll take a look at some of those guys on the offensive side right now. You've got a quarterback coming back. Your running back, Matt Perno, he sneakily got himself into the top 5 in the league in rushing. It wasn't one of those highly touted, but he stepped up there. I'm looking at the numbers. He had over 700 yards on the ground. Talk a little bit about what you expect out of quarterback TJ Two-Tone, out of Matt Perno, and you got a couple wide receivers that are also back that have significant experience.
TJ is the most experienced, skilled guy right now on our offense. He's been starting for 3. This will be his 3rd year as our starting quarterback. Our wide receiver core is very, very strong and deep as well. We returned our top, I think, 8 receivers total, and I think something like 10 out of our top 12 are back on our roster this year. Matt Perno was an interesting story last year. He did not play a down as a freshman, playing behind Evan Calvo, who was our 3rd-string running back. We had Mike Pitzenberger and Nick Cortez that literally carried the ball every down for 4 years for us. And so Matt did not see the field as a freshman and really came on last spring and then had a good, solid camp. And he's still got work ahead of him, but he is the most experienced running back we have on our roster right now, and we're expecting big things for him to, hopefully he'll take the next step.
Before we slide to the defensive side of the ball, I want to talk a little bit about running game and running game philosophy. You've had, during your tenure, you've had some good running backs, some really good running backs at Catholic, and it seems not just one every year. Like you talked about, you had an Evan Calvo who was a 3rd, and Matt Perno was behind him, and now Matt's a top 5 running back in the league. What's your philosophy behind building running backs up, building a running game that would include what you're doing with the offensive line and blocking scheme and things like that?
I think first and foremost, we've been pretty lucky. We've recruited some pretty good running backs, and along with that, we've also developed them. And when I first came in the league, ODAC 10 years ago, we were throwing the ball all over the place. One year we threw over 500 passes in the season. As we got older, more experienced, we got bigger and stronger up front. Running back recruiting improved, like I noted, and we started becoming a much more balanced football team. And I think we got a little bit away from that last year, mainly because of our youth. We just weren't as good up front and big and strong as we needed to be, and we feel we should be this year. So hopefully, our 2015 offense should be balanced like our 2013 offense was.
Let's slide to the other side of the ball right now. And you've got a couple guys in your linebacking core that specialize in tackling those running backs. Anthony Santo, Paul Tecklenburg are linebackers there that accumulated a lot of tackles for you last year. You've got your two leading sackers on the interior of your line there with Matthew Barton and James Moody. Maybe not the interior, just on your line. I apologize, but talk a little bit about what you see out of your guys on defense and maybe somebody that you expect to step up this year and really make a difference for you out there.
Probably on defensive side of the ball, there's definitely more question marks than there is on offense. So I expect great competition. We graduate a couple outside linebackers, so it'll be great competition in camp. We feel good with Tech coming back and with Anthony Santo being a freshman and playing a ton of football for us. I think that the cornerstone of our defensive line is Matt Barton. He's a junior. This will be his 3rd year starting. Mooney coming back also as well. He's just got to stay healthy. He was banged up a little bit last year. If we can get him to stay healthy, we expect big things out of him. The defensive backfield with Richard Roach and Aaron Hall, those two guys are very experienced for us, so we're looking for them to lead a younger crew in the back end of our defense.
Let's take a look at the league from a standpoint for this year. Now we've got the same, as I've alluded to a couple times, the same logjam we had last year, except now it's for the second spot with Guilford on paper separating themselves in the poll, and then we've got 3 other teams sitting there. But we've got 37 guys from across the conference that were all ODAC guys last year that are back on squads this year, and some that could very easily have been all ODAC guys as well. Talk a little bit about what you see from the league top to bottom, and how you think Catholic bids in looking to move up that ladder.
I think the big thing is when you look at the history of the league as coaches, we've done a horrible job of picking who's usually going to win it. We're not always right. We've probably been a little bit more correct the past few years than we were before that. I think when you go back and study the history of our league, more often than not, it's the team with the strongest senior class or the most experienced senior class. And right now, Guilford is bringing the most experienced team back. So that's obviously why they were the unanimous pick, basically, for the top spot in the league. And then the rest of it is a logjam because it's a little bit more of a mixture of, some teams have a lot of guys back, but they might be missing a quarterback or they might be missing their top receiver. So I think that's what's going to make it an interesting race this year is that who's going to find that key guy to replace an experienced veteran from last year, whether it be a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, defensive line. I think you're going to probably see some guys step up this year that were probably not as touted going into the season, and that usually is what happens. It'll be somebody will kind of be off the radar right now is going to come out and have an amazing season and really kind of propel a team to the top end of the standings.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for joining me today, and good luck this season.
Thank you.